But I wonder if we could look at the Anglo-American tradition in particular. What are the particular problems with that?
Well, I would say maybe the main problem with the Anglo-American tradition is that it doesn't exist. People sometimes use that phrase when what they have in mind is analytic philosophy.
Yeah.
But analytic philosophy is practiced in most countries in the world now, as I know from my travels. It did not originate in Britain or America. It probably, arguably it originated in Germany, as it happens, and now it's practiced in India, in China, in Russia, and so there is no specific Anglo-American tradition. I mean, it's true that, as well, the tradition of analytic philosophy tends to be done in English, but the reason for that is that English has become the international language of science, so it's not something specific about that philosophical tradition.
Nivi?
Yeah, I actually agree that there isn't one Anglo-American tradition at all, and in fact, rarefying it as an Anglo-American tradition erases how much it has borrowed from and learned from the colonial encounters of people before it. And so, although we are often taught about the Anglo-American tradition, and within that tradition, there are so many. So there's the analytical traditions, but there's also the continental tradition, which is technically the European tradition, but they bleed into one another. So the problem is actually not the tradition in itself, but how it has emerged and established itself, and what it elides and the erasures it is kind of built upon. That's how I see it.
Do we need to update that tradition, or do we need to stop thinking about it in the way we do? Or
yeah, I think we absolutely need to constantly update all traditions and all. I mean, one of the things about tradition is that traditions move on, and what is traditional today might not be traditional in 20 years' time. So I think we need to constantly check and update our biases, and there doesn't need to be always a right way to fix that. But as long as we're aware, and as long as we're a little bit more modest about our claims, I think, yeah, that's where I'd go with that, yeah.
But it's also, I mean, this is not disagreeing with what you said, but it's also the case that within a tradition, you have to use the methods of that tradition to recognize your biases. And as where what one hopes for with a robust tradition is that it's got the resources to renew and correct itself. And of course, sometimes traditions get stuck in a dead end where they can't do that, and that's where it becomes very problematic, because they just can't recognize their own limitations.
For more debates, talks and interviews, subscribe today to the Institute of Art and Ideas at IAI TV.